Have you ever noticed how the strongest women you know rarely feel strong? They don't wake up one day and say, I am powerful now. Most days, they still doubt themselves. They still feel tired. They still wonder if they are doing enough. And yet, they are changing in ways they don't even see. Let me ask you something. When life hits hard, do you stand back up a little faster than before? When someone tries to break your spirit, do you feel pain, but no longer lose yourself? That quiet shift, that silent strength, often begins long before confidence shows up on the outside. Think about a tree in a storm. You don't hear it growing stronger. You only see it still standing when the storm passes. Strength doesn't announce itself. It builds in silence, through tears you never shared, through choices no one clapped for, through days you survived when quitting felt easier. Many women believe they are weak because they still feel fear. But strength is not the absence of fear. Strength is moving forward while your heart is still shaking. It's learning to say no without guilt. It's choosing peace over pleasing others. It's walking away from what once felt familiar but no longer felt right. If you've been feeling different lately, calmer, firmer, less willing to beg for love or approval, this message is for you. You may not realize it yet, but these are not random changes. They are signs. 7 signs you are becoming a stronger woman. The first key point is this. You no longer feel the need to explain yourself to everyone. And this change did not come suddenly. It came quietly. After many moments where you explained your heart to people who were not really listening. There was a time when you wanted approval before action, agreement before peace, and understanding before confidence. You explained why you said no, why you chose differently, why you needed space. You carried the weight of being misunderstood as if it was your responsibility to fix it. Slowly, life taught you something painful but powerful. You noticed that no matter how clearly you explained, some people still judged you. No matter how honestly you spoke, some people still doubted you. And in that realization, something inside you shifted. You began to understand that clarity does not come from talking more, it comes from knowing more about yourself. Strength started growing the moment you stopped translating your soul for people who never learned your language. Now, when you make a decision, you sit with it first. You ask yourself if it feels right, if it aligns with who you are becoming, not with who you are trying to please. And when it does, you move forward without announcing it to the world. This silence is not fear. It is self-respect. You no longer borrow confidence from outside opinions. You generate it from within. You have learned that explanations are often given out of guilt, not kindness. Guilt for choosing yourself. Guilt for changing. Guilt for no longer being available in the same way. As you grew stronger, that guilt lost its power over you. You realized that protecting your time, energy, and values does not make you selfish. It makes you responsible for your own life. There is also a deep emotional maturity that comes with this shift. You can sit with being misunderstood without panicking. You can let people think what they want without rushing to correct them. Earlier, misunderstanding felt like rejection. Now, it feels like distance, and distance feels safer than forcing connection where it does not belong. This calmness is not indifference. It is wisdom. Most importantly, you are learning that the right people never demanded explanations in the first place. They saw your intentions in your actions. They trusted your heart without interrogation. As you stopped explaining yourself, those people became clearer, and so did you. This is not the loss of your voice. This is the discovery of your strength. The second key point is that you start feeling lonelier, even when people are around you, and this loneliness does not come from emptiness, but from awareness. Earlier, being surrounded by noise felt comforting. Conversations, messages, gatherings made you feel alive. Now the same noise feels heavy. You listen, but you don't feel connected. You smile, but something inside stays quiet. This shift is confusing because nothing outside has changed, yet everything inside has. You are not antisocial. You are not broken. Your mind has simply moved to a deeper level where surface level connection no longer satisfies you. You begin to notice how many conversations are just habits, not meaning. People speak, but few truly communicate. You hear complaints repeated every day, gossip recycled again and again, dreams spoken without action. Once you participated, now you observe. Your silence grows, not because you have nothing to say, but because you don't want to waste words. This is where loneliness begins to appear, but it is not empty loneliness. It is the discomfort of realizing that not everyone can meet you where you are growing. There is a strange moment when you feel like a guest in rooms you once called home. The jokes don't land the same. The priorities feel unfamiliar. The excitement feels forced. You start asking yourself, why do I feel distant from people I love? The answer is simple but hard to accept. Growth creates distance before it creates alignment. When your inner world expands, old environments feel smaller. This does not mean you are better than others. It means you are different now, and difference always feels lonely at first. This loneliness also teaches you to sit with yourself. At first, it is uncomfortable. Silence feels loud. You reach for your phone, distractions, anything to avoid the quiet. But slowly something shifts. You start hearing your own thoughts clearly. You understand what you want, what drains you, what you can no longer tolerate. Many people never reach this stage because they are afraid to be alone. You are learning to face yourself without noise, and that is a rare strength. You also stop forcing bonds that no longer feel natural. Earlier you stayed because of history, guilt, or fear of being alone. Now you choose honesty over familiarity. You may still care deeply, but you no longer beg for emotional presence. You no longer shrink your depth to fit shallow spaces. This choice feels heavy because it reduces your circle, but it also protects your energy. Fewer connections but more real ones. This is not loss. This is refinement. Over time you realize this loneliness is temporary, but the strength it builds is permanent. It prepares you to recognize meaningful connection when it arrives. It sharpens your intuition. It teaches you patience. When you finally meet people who speak your language, who value silence as much as words, who respect your depth, you will understand why this lonely phase was necessary. Until then, you walk alone not because you are unwanted, but because you are becoming someone who refuses to settle for anything less than real connection. The third key point is when you start choosing peace over proving a point, and this shift happens so quietly that you almost miss it. Earlier in life, every disagreement felt personal. Every comment felt like a challenge. You felt the urge to explain, correct, justify, and defend. Not because you were wrong, but because you wanted to be understood. You wanted your truth to be seen and your feelings to be validated. But now, something inside you pauses. You listen, you breathe, and instead of reacting, you observe. That pause is not hesitation, it is awareness. It is the moment you realize that your energy is limited and you no longer want to waste it on battles that give you nothing in return. You begin to notice how loud the world is. Opinions everywhere, advice everywhere, people telling you how you should think, feel, live, or respond. Before, you tried to meet that noise with more noise. You spoke faster, You explained more. You tried harder. Now you don't feel that urgency. You understand that not everyone is listening to understand. Many are listening only to reply. So you step back. You don't interrupt. You don't force clarity on people who enjoy confusion. You let them believe what they want because you finally understand that their beliefs are a reflection of their journey, not your worth. There is a strange strength in walking away that only mature souls understand. Walking away does not mean you had nothing to say. It means you had enough wisdom to know that saying it would change nothing. You realize that some conversations are not conversations at all, they are traps. Traps for your time, traps for your peace, traps for your emotional balance. And so you choose silence not as surrender, but as self-respect. You protect your inner calm the same way you protect your physical safety. Carefully, intentionally, without apology. You also stop trying to win people over. Winning arguments used to feel like victory, but now it feels empty. Even when you are right, you ask yourself a deeper question: at what cost? You understand that being right is meaningless if it leaves you drained, angry, or restless. Peace feels better than applause. Calm feels better than control. You stop carrying conversations home with you. You stop replaying words in your mind at night. Your sleep improves, not because life got easier, but because you stopped fighting every unnecessary war. Another subtle change happens inside you. You become less reactive and more grounded. Things that once triggered you now reveal something instead. When someone raises their voice, you notice their insecurity. When someone insults you, you notice their pain. This doesn't make you superior, it makes you aware. You no longer absorb emotions that are not yours. You don't mirror chaos. You don't match disrespect with disrespect. You stay steady. And that steadiness is powerful because it shows that your emotional center is no longer controlled by external behavior. Over time, people may misunderstand this version of you. They may say you've changed. They may say you've become distant or quiet. What they don't see is the work you've done inside. They don't see the self-control it takes to remain calm when you could react. They don't see the discipline it takes to protect your peace in a world addicted to drama. But you see it. You feel it. And deep inside, you know this truth: choosing peace over proving a point is not avoidance, it is evolution. The fourth key point is that your pain has made you softer, not bitter, and this is one of the rarest forms of strength a woman can develop. Life did not treat you gently. You faced disappointment, betrayal, rejection, and moments where you questioned your own worth. Many people, when hurt deeply, build walls so high that no one can reach them again. But you did something different. You felt the pain fully. You allowed it to pass through you, instead of turning it into anger. That choice alone required courage. It is easy to become hard. It is easy to shut down. It is much harder to stay open after being hurt. You noticed that instead of becoming cruel, you became more aware. You started reading emotions without words. You sensed when someone was struggling even if they smiled. Pain sharpened your sensitivity, not your bitterness. Where others became suspicious, you became understanding. Where others became defensive, you became patient. This did not happen because life was kind to you. It happened because you decided not to let suffering turn you into someone you are not. That decision is quiet, invisible strength. You also learned that kindness is not weakness. Earlier, you might have thought that being soft meant being taken advantage of. But now you know the difference. You set boundaries, yet you still care. You protect your heart, yet you don't poison it. You no longer confuse love with sacrifice that destroys you. This balance did not come from books or advice. It came from lessons life taught you when no one was watching. You became gentle without becoming foolish, and that balance is powerful. You also stopped trying to win people over. Winning arguments used to feel like victory, but now it feels empty. Even when you are right, you ask yourself a deeper question: at what cost? You understand that being right is meaningless if it leaves you drained, angry, or restless. Peace feels better than applause. Calm feels better than control. You stop carrying conversations home with you. You stop replaying words in your mind at night. Your sleep improves, not because life got easier, but because you stopped fighting every unnecessary war. Another subtle change happens inside you. You become less reactive and more grounded. Things that once triggered you now reveal something instead. When someone raises their voice, you notice their insecurity. When someone insults you, you notice their pain. This doesn't make you superior, it makes you aware. You no longer absorb emotions that are not yours. You don't mirror chaos. You don't match disrespect with disrespect. You stay steady. And that steadiness is powerful because it shows that your emotional center is no longer controlled by external behavior. Over time, people may misunderstand this version of you. They may say you've changed. They may say you've become distant or quiet. What they don't see is the work you've done inside. They don't see the self-control it takes to remain calm when you could react. They don't see the discipline it takes to protect your peace in a world addicted to drama. But you see it. You feel it. And deep inside you know this truth: choosing peace over proving a point is not avoidance. It is evolution. The fourth key point is that your pain has made you softer, not bitter. And this is one of the rarest forms of strength a woman can develop. Life did not treat you gently. You faced disappointment, betrayal, rejection, and moments where you questioned your own worth. Many people, when hurt deeply, build walls so high that no one can reach them again. But you did something different. You felt the pain fully. You allowed it to pass through you instead of turning it into anger. That choice alone required courage. It is easy to become hard. It is easy to shut down. It is much harder to stay open after being hurt. You notice that instead of becoming cruel, you became more aware. You started reading emotions without words. You sensed when someone was struggling, even if they smiled. Pain sharpened your sensitivity, not your bitterness. Where others became suspicious, you became understanding. Where others became defensive, you became patient. This did not happen because life was kind to you. It happened because you decided not to let suffering turn you into someone you are not. That decision is quiet, invisible strength. You also learned that kindness is not weakness. Earlier, you might have thought that being soft meant being taken advantage of. But now you know the difference. You set boundaries, yet you still care. You protect your heart, yet you don't poison it. You no longer confuse love with sacrifice that destroys you. This balance did not come from books or advice. It came from lessons life taught you when no one was watching. You became gentle without becoming foolish, and that balance is powerful. Your pain also taught you humility. You no longer judge people quickly. You no longer assume you know their story. You understand that everyone is carrying something heavy, even if they don't show it. This awareness changed the way you speak, the way you listen, the way you respond. You choose words more carefully now. You pause before reacting. You give grace where earlier you might have given criticism. This softness is not accidental. It is earned through experience. There are moments when you feel emotional for no clear reason. A song, a memory, a random thought can bring tears to your eyes. Earlier, you might have felt embarrassed by this. Now you understand it differently. Your heart is not weak, it is alive. It has not shut down. it still feels deeply. In a world that celebrates numbness, staying emotionally open is an act of rebellion. It means life did not defeat you, it refined you. Most people never see this strength because it is not loud. It does not announce itself. It does not demand recognition. But this softness changes lives. People feel safe around you. They trust you without knowing why. They open up to you because your presence does not judge or rush them. This is the power of a woman who went through pain and chose compassion instead of bitterness. That choice shapes everything you touch, even when you don't realize it. The fifth key point is that you begin to trust yourself more than the noise around you. And this shift does not arrive with fireworks or loud confidence. It arrives quietly. One day, you notice you are not asking everyone what they think before you decide. You still listen, but you no longer hand over the steering wheel of your life. You pause, you feel, you think, and then you choose. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. You are learning that your inner voice has survived storms, mistakes, and disappointments, and it is wiser than random opinions. Strength begins the moment you stop outsourcing your self-belief. There was a time when doubt controlled your actions. You wanted reassurance before every step. You looked for signs, approval, and permission. But now, even when fear is present, it no longer dominates you. You have realized that fear is not a stop sign. It is just information. You move forward anyway. You do not wait until you feel ready, because you understand that readiness is built by action, not by waiting. A stronger woman does not wait for confidence to appear. She acts, and confidence follows her courage. You also stop explaining your instincts to people who do not feel what you feel. Earlier, if someone questioned your decision, it shook you. Now you remain calm. You know why you chose what you chose, even if you cannot explain it in perfect words. You trust the quiet knowing inside you. This inner trust was built through lessons, failures, and nights when you had no one but yourself. You learned that you are capable of surviving uncertainty. And once you know that, other people's opinions lose their power over you. Another sign of this strength is that you take responsibility without self-hate. When things go wrong, you do not collapse into guilt or blame. You reflect, you learn, you adjust. You no longer need to be perfect to feel worthy. You understand that growth is messy, and mistakes are part of becoming wise. A weaker version of you wanted to look good. A stronger version of you wants to grow. This shift changes everything, because it frees you from fear of failure. You also become more patient with your own journey. You stop comparing timelines. You stop rushing because others seem ahead. You trust that your path is unfolding at the right pace for your lessons. This patience is not laziness, it is deep self-respect. You know that forcing outcomes only creates burnout. Trusting yourself means trusting timing as well. You understand that what is meant for you will not pass you, and what passes you was never yours to carry. And slowly, without announcing it to the world, you become someone others feel safe around. Not because you have all the answers, but because you are grounded. Your words carry weight. Your presence feels steady. This comes from self-trust. When you believe in yourself, you no longer need to control outcomes or people. You stand firm yet flexible. This is the quiet power of a strong woman who knows that even if everything falls apart, she will find her way again, because she trusts herself to rebuild. The sixth key point is you no longer rush to be healed, fixed, or finished. Earlier in life, you wanted quick answers, quick recovery, quick clarity. When something hurt, you asked, "How do I get over this fast?" When life slowed down, you felt uncomfortable. But now, something has shifted inside you. You understand that growth is not a race. You allow yourself to feel tired without guilt. You allow yourself to sit with emotions without judging them. You don't force happiness just to look strong. You are learning that real strength is not about speed, it is about depth. And this patience with yourself is not laziness. It is wisdom earned through experience. You have stopped comparing your timeline with others. This is powerful. You see people moving ahead, achieving milestones, posting victories, and instead of panicking, you breathe. You remind yourself that your path has its own rhythm. You are no longer desperate to catch up. You are focused on becoming solid. You know that a tree that grows too fast breaks easily in storms. So you choose to grow slowly, with strong roots. This calm trust in your journey is not common. It is a sign of inner strength that cannot be taught, only lived. You are also more honest with yourself than ever before. You don't pretend everything is fine when it is not. You admit when you are confused. You admit when you are scared. You admit when you don't have clarity yet. Earlier, you tried to look put together even when you were falling apart inside. Now, you respect your truth. You don't lie to yourself to feel accepted. You would rather face discomfort than live in denial. That level of self-honesty requires courage. Weak people hide from their truth. Strong women sit with it. You no longer chase motivation every day. This is another silent change. You understand that some days you won't feel inspired, and that's okay. You still show up. You still do what needs to be done, even without excitement. You don't wait for the perfect mood. You rely on discipline, not emotion. This is maturity. You have learned that motivation comes and goes, but character stays. This quiet consistency is not loud, but it builds an unshakable foundation inside you. Your relationship with failure has also changed. Failure no longer defines you, it teaches you. You don't take every setback personally. You don't label yourself as not good enough so easily anymore. You ask better questions now. What did this situation teach me? What can I adjust next time? What part of me is growing through this? This mindset shift is powerful. It means you are no longer fragile. You bend, you learn, and you move forward. That is real resilience. Most importantly, you have stopped waiting for permission to become who you are meant to be. You don't need constant reassurance anymore. You don't need everyone to agree with you. You listen, you reflect, and then you decide. Even if your voice shakes, even if the path is unclear, even if the outcome is uncertain, this self-trust is not arrogance, it is earned confidence. And when a woman trusts herself deeply, she becomes unstoppable, even when she is quiet, even when she is still becoming. The seventh key point is that you are no longer afraid of changing your mind, even when the world expects you to stay the same. Earlier in life, changing your opinion felt like weakness. You felt pressure to stick to what you once said, once believed, once chose. You stayed in places, roles, and relationships longer than necessary because you didn't want to look confused or inconsistent. But strength changes that. Now, you give yourself permission to evolve. You understand that growth will naturally rewrite your views. You realize that a wise woman is not one who never changes her mind, but one who listens carefully to life and adjusts with honesty. You start noticing this in small moments. You pause before reacting. You question advice that once sounded perfect. You rethink goals that no longer fit your values. And instead of feeling guilty about it, you feel relief. Because deep inside, something clicks. You finally understand that the woman you were 5 years ago made the best choices she could with the knowledge she had then. And the woman you are today has more awareness, more experience, more depth. Respecting that change is not betrayal of your past. It is gratitude for your journey. This strength also shows up in how you let go. You stop forcing yourself to like things just because you always did. You stop pretending excitement where there is none. You stop chasing dreams that no longer feel true to your heart. And yes, that scares people. Because when you change, it reminds them that they might need to change too. But you don't shrink yourself anymore to make others comfortable. You understand that comfort can be the enemy of growth. And growth often asks you to release old versions of yourself without apology. There is a quiet confidence that comes with this. You no longer rush decisions just to prove something. You are okay saying, I need time, or this doesn't feel right anymore. You trust your inner signals more than outside noise. When something feels heavy, you listen. When something feels aligned, you lean in. This doesn't make you unstable. It makes you grounded. A strong woman is flexible in thinking but firm in values. She bends where learning is needed and stands tall where integrity is tested. You also stop labeling your changes as failures. You don't say, I wasted years, or I chose wrong. Instead, you say, I learned. You see how every stage taught you something important. The job that drained you taught you boundaries. The relationship that ended taught you self-respect. The dream that faded taught you clarity. Nothing was useless. Everything was preparation. This perspective is not common. It belongs to women who have faced life honestly and refuse to stay bitter. And slowly, without making a big announcement, you become someone who feels lighter inside. Not because life is easy, but because you are no longer at war with your own evolution. You allow yourself to update your beliefs, your standards, your direction. You understand that strength is not rigidity. Strength is adaptability with self-respect. And when you look back one day, you won't admire yourself for staying the same. You will admire yourself for having the courage to change. You are not becoming strong in loud moments. You are becoming strong in the quiet ones. In the moments when no one is watching, you choose patience over reaction. When you choose growth over comfort. When you choose honesty over approval. Strength did not arrive as confidence. It arrived as clarity. It arrived as boundaries. It arrived as self-respect. You didn't wake up one day fearless. You woke up aware of what drains you, aware of what matters, aware of who you are no longer willing to be, and that awareness changed everything. So if life feels unfamiliar right now, don't panic. If your heart feels deeper, your circle smaller, your silence louder, trust it. This is not the end of who you were. This is the beginning of who you are becoming. A woman who doesn't beg to be chosen. A woman who doesn't shrink to be accepted. A woman who stands steady even when the ground shifts. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are building strength from the inside out. And once that strength settles in, nothing in this world can take it away.